Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games, back with another really cool pinball repair video for you today. We are working on this old school 1978, 1979 Williams Phoenix pinball machine. It is a System 4 machine, and as you can see, we are missing most of the displays. So we put this thing back together and got it doing its thing pretty well. Still waiting on some parts, but in general, it's up and running, except we don't have the displays. The reason for that is because we were working, if you watch some of our other videos, on a couple other games that we ended up stealing the displays off of this one for. But to reward this game for waiting so long and being so patient, we're going to put brand new LED displays in the machine. And so we have bought some online that you put together yourself, and it saves you about half of the price on them. So we're going to we're filming a little video of putting those together, and that's what you're watching right now. So if you've got one of these, the price as of January 2020 is about $110 for all of the parts shipped. So what you need is a soldering iron, I believe. So we'll read the instructions and see what we come up with. All right, so when you order them, they will come in this little box. We opened it up and messed around with it a little bit, so I think they were properly packaged and all that, of course. So this, I guess, would be the main display. Packing material. Four of what is referred to as the slave displays. A pack of stuff, a bunch of chips, and then this little paper package. Oh yeah, of all of the LEDs. Okay, so is that enough stuff? I guess that's enough stuff because you don't need anything on the slave boards. Alright, so we're going to read the instructions. That's the way to go. We got these from Wolfpack Technologies. We bought them on eBay. And I had heard good things, so we're going to try them out. Wolfpack Technologies Williams System 3 to 6 Replacement Display Kit. So if you have anything from System 3 up through System 6, this is what you need. And I'll bet they've got a System 7 one. I don't know that for sure, but I believe they also have a Bally one. We're going to do a video on the Bally ones too, whenever we get around to it. All right. Oh, and by the way, we are not being, I don't know these people, never talked to them. They're not paying me anything. I don't know anything about them. I just think it's a cool product. Wanted to do a little video on it. So this is what it will end up looking like. Simple enough. They have simplified the board a little bit, it looks like to me. Because, you know, the LEDs, you don't need as much power and stuff to drive them. So I don't, it looks simpler to me. Maybe I'll pull out, yeah, I'll pull out the other master one and we'll see what's going on. It says, when assembled, this display will replace the displays used on many Williams System 3 to 6 pinball machines. For the complete list of compatible machines, see the list at the end of the instructions. 1, and that's their website. 1 page of instructions. I like it a lot. Part description. Oh, you have to download it. Okay. Part description. So we've got the master board. We've got the 4 slave boards. We've got 2 74 HCT04s. I mean 3. We've got 2 CD4543s. We've got 2 74 ACT541s or 74 AC541s. We've got 2 ULN 2803s. We've got 7.1 microfarad capacitors marked 104 or capacitor 0.22 microfarad capacitors marked 224. We've got 28 7-segment LED displays. We've got 14 150 ohm resistors or 100 ohm values based on color of LED displays. Okay, that's interesting. Oh yeah, I don't remember. I think these are like the orange ones, but they might be the red ones. 6-digit foam bezel, 2-digit foam bezel. I believe the red ones are slightly cheaper, $4 or $5, because I guess like an LED, a red LED is easier to purchase than a blue one or a green one or an orange one, but you can get them in all different colors. Assembly instructions. For complete assembly instructions, go to blah, 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 and click on the link, download instructions. So we'll do that, and I'll print it out for this video. Tools. You need a soldering iron, a small to medium power soldering iron of 25 to 50 watts with a small tip, preferably temperature controlled, is recommended. Well, that's exactly what I've got. Wire cutters. A set of diagonal or wire cutters intended for cutting electronic component leads. Alcohol, isopropyl alcohol, denatured alcohol, or flux remover to be used for cleaning the board after assembly. Oh yeah, I always do that. Sure I do. Solder, use only solder designed for electronic component assembly. Either lead-based or lead-free flux core solder are both acceptable. Use of solid core, acid core, or plumbing solder is not acceptable and will void the warranty. So keep that in mind, folks. All soldering should be done on the bottom non-printed side of the boards. This kit uses old-school through-hole components, requiring only basic soldering skills to assemble. Well, that's a damn good thing, because that's all the talent I've got. I like the old-school through-hole assembly. I'm a big fan. However, if you have never soldered before or are unsure of your skill level, it is recommended that you first practice soldering on a scrap board before beginning to assemble this kit. There are many references on the internet which can help you learn how. Now, I'm not the greatest at soldering, obviously. Hell, I can't even pronounce it properly. I can't even pronunciate it right? But I'll show a little bit of it on the video just because everybody keeps saying that they want to see us actually soldering. But if you want instructions on soldering, go watch another video from someone else, because I'm not all that great at it. So I'm just going to say ahead of time, boy, I suck at soldering. I'm doing it all wrong. Boy, don't do it like this. This is horrible. Man, it's the worst I've ever seen. My 5-year-old could solder better than that. So I got all that out of the way. I'm not claiming to be an expert on soldering, but I am an expert on getting pinball machines to run again. So you can bet that this thing is going to be running with some new freaking displays in it by the time of this video, the end of this video. Now keep in mind, I'm sitting here looking at it in pieces, so I can't possibly know that yet. The only reason that I know that at the end of this video I'm going to have this thing up and running is because I won't upload this video unless I've already got it up and running, right? So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go print out those instructions and answer the phone. So I printed out the instructions. There were a couple other pages that were these pages and a couple, like a parts list and stuff. But we'll start here where it says start here. Before starting, check the components received against the parts list on page 2. We do occasionally make mistakes. If any components are missing or you have any questions regarding these assembly instructions, please contact us. If you have any problems with the display after assembly, you can contact us. If you need to return this display for repair, we will provide a prepaid return label. Any problem found to be due to the defective components will be repaired free of charge within 1 year of purchase. Any problem found to be due to assembly error or damage will be charged for postage and the cost of any components which need to be replaced. Look, I'm not a big warranty guy. I'm just not. These are like $100. If something's wrong with them, I'm just going to fix it. You know, I'm not going to be upset about it. I can understand that some people, warranty's a big deal to them, and that's fine. But you know, if it is a big deal to you, you probably shouldn't be putting them together yourself. That's just, you know. But if you're a do-it-yourselfer, think about what they're saying. If there's a problem, if anything's made wrong, you know. Well, if this is messed up or something, they'll probably just sell you one of these if you email them nice about it. If it's a chip, I'm just going to buy a replacement chip. That's not their fault. They didn't make them. If it's a resistor or something, I'm just going to buy a replacement resistor. It's not that big of a deal. But to each his own. Master board. Step 1, start with the larger master PC board. PCB board, right? Isn't that what you're supposed to say? To those of you not in on the joke, I keep getting all these comments where they complain that I say UF instead of microfarad on the capacitors, and that I say PCB board sometimes, which isn't right, but y'all know what I mean. Come on. So the larger master printed circuit board Insert U1, which is CD 4543, into the board from the top side, the side with the lettering, so that one pin goes through each hole at the location labeled U1. Each chip is marked with a U-shaped notch on one of the short ends. Ain't that the truth? So yeah, so you know, you probably all know this, but if you don't, there's always a marking at one end. On the older ones, instead of having the little U-shaped mark, it would have a little dot on pin 1. So pin 1 is always the one that's on the bottom left. And then they have done a really good job of printing them so that you can see which way everything goes. So notice on this side, they all face up. And on this side, they all face down. So that's something to think about. The end should line up with the notch printed on the PC board. You may find that you have to bend the legs of the chip slightly in order to get both rows to line up with the holes in the board. You can do this with needle nose pliers or by laying the chip on its side with the pins of one side on a hard surface pointing away from you and gently pressing down and away on the body of the chip. Be careful not to bend the pins too far. Once inserted, bend the pins at the corner from the bottom slightly in order to hold the chip in place. Make sure that all of the pins from the chip are completely inserted through the holes in the board before soldering in place from the bottom. Repeat for U2. Repeat for U3, U4, and U5, U6, U7, Q1, and Q2. Q1 and Q2, what are those? Oh yeah, the OSSO chips. Step 5. Locate resistors R1 through R14. Bend the leads of one resistor approximately 90 degrees near the body of the resistor so that it forms a U shape. Do not force the bends any closer than it will go with light finger pressure, or you may damage the component. Insert the resistor into the board at the position marked R1. The direction does not matter. The leads should line up easily with the holes on the board. Once inserted through the board, bend the leads slightly from the bottom to hold the resistor against the board. Solder from the bottom. Trim the excess leads from the bottom of the board with diagonal cutters, leaving about 1/16 of an inch. Repeat for R2 through R14. Okay, locate capacitors C1 through C7. Insert one capacitor at the positions marked C1 on the board. The direction of these components does not matter. Bend the leads slightly from the bottom of the board to hold in position and solder in place. Trim the excess lead. Repeat for C2 through C7. The 7-segment LEDs. The 7-segment LEDs are installed in positions DS1 through DS4. Install the LEDs so that the end with the decimal point is closest to the bottom of the board, i.e. the side with no edge connectors, and that all 10 pins are correctly seated in the holes. Lay the board face down and solder one pin in each row of the LED. Inspect to ensure that the LED is seated flush with the PC board. If not, reheat the pins while pressing on the display from the front of the board. Once the LED is correctly seated, solder the remaining pins. Repeat for the remaining 3 LED displays. Slave board. Your kit will come with 4 slave boards. 7-segment LEDs. The 7-segment LEDs are installed in position DS1 through DS6. Okay, so it's the same exact way. Everything's cool. I mean, it's what I thought it was. This is all pretty self-explanatory, but it's always good to check, right? Final assembly. Wipe or rinse the board with alcohol or flux remover or water, depending on the type of solder used, to remove the solder flux residue. When the boards are completely dry, peel the clear plastic protective film from the front surface of each LED display. Oh, okay. Remove the paper backing covering the adhesive from the 2-digit foam bezel. Carefully line the openings with the LED on the 1803 board and install as shown below. It looks better online, but I printed it in black and white. But if you print it in color, you could probably see it a little better. Carefully line the openings up. The adhesive is very aggressive. Be careful when handling the bezel after removing the paper backing to avoid sticking it to something or somewhere you don't intend. I always get them stuck to my elbow. How's that even happen? Remove the paper backing covering the adhesive from one of the 6-digit foam bezels. Carefully line the opening with the LEDs on one of the 1802 boards and install as shown below. Repeat for the remaining 3. Each mounting post that holds the display boards in the head box has a spacer held on with a nut. In order to maintain the correct spacing to the back glass, the spacer needs to be changed. Okay, that's good. For each mounting post, remove the nut, replace the spacer with one of the spacers supplied with the kit, and replace the nut. Oh, okay. So there's the little standoff thing. Well, now I got to see that. This is something I did not have in mind. So that's cool. Here I go with my one-handed work here. Very cool. Okay, so yeah, so these spacers are shorter than the ones in the game. With the power off, install the displays in your pinball machine and attach the original cables. The high voltage power supply in your pinball machine is no longer required. If you want, you can remove fuse F1 on the power supply board to disable it. We're going to do that. It is okay to operate the system without any or all of the slave displays installed. Caution, all 5 boards, and this is very important, this part, so I'm going to say it louder. Caution, all 5 boards must be changed to use this display. Do not mix components of the original display with this display. Operating your pinball machine with these slave displays attached to the original master board will void the warranty. Apply power and enjoy. So you can't, like if you've got 2 or 3 displays out, you can't just use 1 or 2 or 3 of these. You can't use any of these. You have to use the big board, and you can only use the big board with the new. You have to do it all. You can't do just this. You can't do just that. There's some seriously different voltages that will fry crap. So you have to take all of your old ones out and put all new ones in. You can't do just one. All right, so I will get a tripod and we'll start putting the one together. Okay, so we got the new one all fixed up. Look how nice. Isn't that great? Boy, it looks fantastic. I got one of the chips I put in backwards, so I had to cut it out and put it back in the right way. That wasn't cool. So now we got to take the old one out and put the new standoffs on it. Should be easy little upgrade if I don't get confused on where all the wires go, connectors go. Let's see here. If I still had the glass on the machine, I could use it as a table. Take out the old. So now I got to change all these little stand-ups too, standoffs. Get the spacing right. I don't know, they kind of look the same length to me. They are slightly smaller, but man, it's minute. I guess I'll do it, just so I can be a stickler for the instructions. If they're too long, I guess the problem you would have would be that they would hit your back glass. All right. Let's see if this will go. Maybe. Voila! Okay, so I got it all secured in. We're going to pop the cables on it, although a bunch of these you don't even need yet because they're for the slave displays, and we don't have any of those ready yet. But that's where it goes. I made one mistake while I was putting it together that I just realized. I didn't take the protective plastic off of the 4 digits. So we'll see how it looks when it lights up. If it's all screwed up, I might have to mess with it. But I can't take it off now because I got this stuff here on there. But who knows? So if anything's wrong, if I screwed up one solder joint, this isn't going to work. But if I got it all right, it should say, what's it say? 00. 00, I think. It'll have 4 digits on it. What do you think? Pretty cool, huh? Looks pretty good. These are the red ones. You can't tell in the camera really that good, but they're like nice and bright red. I think they'll look pretty good. Let's try it with the lights on. What do you think? Great. Pretty nice. Not bad. I like it a lot. Yeah, I don't have to worry about the plastic, I don't think. I can't even tell. I guess all that does, the face of them when that's peeled off is like a matte finish, and this is more of like a glossy finish, but you can barely even tell. I just know because I'm looking at it. But, okay, so now we need to do the slave ones, so let's go put one of those together. folks, so we added the other one in. That's player 4. Let's see if we get anything. Very nice. And I cannot tell a difference between the ones over here that we left the little covers on and the ones that we didn't. But like I said, those have like a matte finish when you like look at them up close. So you should take them off, but we just forgot to. But I don't think it'll matter. All right, so that's player 4, and I'm going to do player 3, player 2, player 1. All right, folks, so we've got the other one in, but we haven't plugged it in yet, because if you plug them in while everything's turned on, you can fry stuff. Player 3. It's looking good. I'll put it in the mode where it does the test, and it shows all the digits here in a minute, but I like them a lot. All right, next player. Player 2. We're getting there. Only one left, folks. Only one left. All right, we've got all 5 mounted. Let's see if player 1 works. Very cool. Okay, let me see if I can get to the display test. I can't ever figure out which way it goes in this one. And the Williams setup on these early ones is really strange, so we'll see if we can get into some kind of display test mode. I got into it. I had to hit a diagnostic switch on the MPU, but I did it from the coin door yesterday when we were messing with it, so I don't know. I had to figure that out. But hey, there we go. Of course, that has nothing to do with the displays. That's just, this is a Williams System 4, but it's the very first System 4, so it uses the System 3 flipper ROMs, and they were just the very first stuff, or I guess they were the third, but the some of the very earliest stuff that Williams did digitally. But look at those displays. Don't they look fantastic? Wow, that's great. So there's only one thing left, right? Oh, wait a minute. Let's see what it looks like with the lights on. And again, in person, these are red. They look orange in the video, but they're red. Very cool. Only one thing left, folks. Let's do it to it. All right, folks, this is what it looks like with the back glass in it. Looks great. They are slightly different than the plasmas. They look a little bit different, just barely, but they look great. You know, if these would have been available back in the day, this is definitely what would have been in the machines. So, you know, it's just they're better in pretty much every way. But to the knowing eye, you can tell that they're more modern. But there's really, you know, this is definitely the best option. If you can afford it, go ahead and do it. So yeah, worked out pretty good. We're very happy with them, and it wasn't that hard to build. I think it took, I would say, 3 hours to put them all together, put them in the machine carefully, change out the little standoffs on all of the displays, and all of that. So it's about a 3-hour job, in my opinion. So I ran into a couple minor problems. One is I put one chip in backwards. That's not their fault. That's my fault. So watch for that. 2, when you put the little LEDs on the actual board, you can put them, just because of the nature of them, you know, with the pins on the bottom, you can have them a little crooked or something. So it says in the manual, and you know, we read it, to maybe do one pin on each side and then look at it and see if it's straight. And if it's not, you adjust it or push it down farther if it's not flat on the board, etc. So I did make a few adjustments on a couple of them, but I did it just like they said. I put one pin on each side in first and adjusted it later. So I got them all pretty straight, in my opinion. But you could get them all cockeyed, where they'd be one's twisted that way a little bit, one's twisted this way a little bit. But there's only a little bit of play, but so watch for that. And then the other thing was, on these ones down here, I accidentally left the protective film on them. And that's it. But it's pretty straightforward. And they work great. You saw as I put them in, every one of them fired right up, no problems. The guys from the company and the girls from the company sent us like a couple extra resistors and things like that in case we screwed up. I think there was an extra post in case we screwed one up or lost one or something. The little plastic standoff. So I think they did a great job, and they didn't know that I was going to do a little video review of it or anything. I'm sure they treat everybody like that. But nice product, very affordable, easy to do, good instructions. You know what I give it? I give it a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up for taking the trouble to film this video. And we're working on this Phoenix. We'll have it finished up pretty soon. We've still got to work on the pop bumpers a little bit. We're missing the spinner, a couple things like that. But such a cool old game too. But if you've got, they had about 10 different types. I don't know if they sell the kits to build every one of them, or if you can only buy some of them pre-assembled or whatever. But they also sell a Bally kit. We're going to do a video on those too, because we've got a Star Trek that we're working on. We're going to put brand new displays in. So leave your comments below. Let us know what you think about them. Have you worked with this particular company's displays before? They seem cool to me. Let me know what you think, and we will see you on the next video. Hope you enjoyed it.